Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Kaale, Cloud the Wanderer. And yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It's just
Yep.
another day.
Yep.
And I have another guest. I have a lovely guest. Her name is Dariana Jordan. How are
I
you?
I am good. Just got in. Texas is having, a little bit of a tantrum, throwing some storms out. Just as our
Yeah,
normal, just a normal Monday.
yeah. Uh, yeah, your last name kind of is different. And on the Instagram, I see Dariana Cleghorn, and now I
Yes.
see Dariana Jordan.
So my my married name is Cleghorn, and
Oh.
before I was married, my family name is Jordan.
Oh, I got you. I got you. I know your husband passed. Yeah, 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 yeah. My condolences. You know, how did he pass?
It
like,
was my husband passed almost 3 years ago now.
oh,
He passed from really it's combination because he was a veteran. He was in the military for over 16 years, and just like um, a lot of people coming back from overseas and military, they're taught how to go into war zones, but they're not taught how to deal with what happened in those war zones when they come back
um,
and stateside. And so he had a good amount of PTSD and just memories and that you just couldn't escape from. And he ended up passing from um, esophageal, pretty much kind of exploded from
yeah,
excessive amount of alcohol being chugged. It was, I would say, the way I look at it now was he was tired of the BS that he was dealing
right.
with. And he ended up just alcoholic suicide was
I'm
the way.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a tough moment.
I,
And,
yeah. Somebody on the chat, Warrior 2000 says my condolences as well.
oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. How do you cope with that? Like through bodybuilding?
I mean, not through bodybuilding. I mean, I've been in the gym my whole life. After he passed, I was kind of I your mind and as someone who's grieving but still has to you still have stuff you have to do, you still have responsibilities, life
Yeah,
like regardless of how you feel, life goes on. So I kind of switched modes to kind of cancel out emotion so that I could be in administrative mode and take care of my son, make sure he's good for school, and then the gym helped just to keep my routine of I'm going to the gym, I'm lifting something. It can be 45 pounds, it can be close to 300, but I'm still doing something in the gym to where physically it helps my mental, because without the balance of getting if I can't express my emotions verbally, I need to express them through some type of physical movement or something along those lines. And that's where the gym really helped me within that first few months and then year. And then throughout in that time frame, that's where I met my now bestie and coach, my bodybuilding coach, Brittany Parrish, also Real Wonder Woman on Instagram.
yeah.
And there's many times she didn't know that she was helping me or helping me during because she didn't know what was going on in my life. She was just she was just there. And there was moments where I was in the gym and normally I'm a happy I will smile. She says I have a really bad resting bitch face. I don't know
Mm,
where she sees it, but people say I do. But in there was a moment where I think I was doing rows, just like heavy rows, and I stopped and I had my head down and I was thinking about everything. I was thinking about I had to finish paperwork for my husband's funeral. I have to finish paperwork so that he can get into the Arlington National Cemetery in DC. And all of it started to weigh on my shoulders so much. And
yeah.
out of nowhere, I think you can say it's God. You could say my fairy godmother. Anyway, it ended up to where my coach Brittany and best friend, she just gave me a random bear hug. It was out of like no words were exchanged. It was just like a hug, and she's like, "I love you," and then she just ran off giggling. It was just the weirdest encounter. But since from that moment on, we started connecting more friendships, and our friendship bloomed into now we're best friends and slightly inseparable to the point where her husband and a husband thinks that we're about the same mindset at the same time.
Oh wow. Okay. So it wasn't like you would. What is this? Is it coming from me? You hear sound or something like that?
I do. Do you hear? I don't know if it's from me or I think it's probably from me. Knowing how old
Oh,
I
okay.
am.
All right. Because I just got these new headphones. I don't want it to act up or nothing. Hold on.
Okay, I think that's better. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I hear
Okay.
you. I just
Okay.
you you hear me.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, okay, all right. So I just came on here, Dariana. I love you already.
Ah,
Yeah,
thank you.
he, yeah, he loves female bodybuilders and stuff, and my heart goes out to you and your family, to your husband as a citizen. I appreciate of the sacrifices he made for this country.
Thank you.
Yeah, so mostly like you was doing bodybuilding mostly of like mental, would you say mental health more than
Hmm.
physical health?
Yes,
Yeah.
pretty much both. It's. I mean, like I said before, I've been in the gym since I was 12, and but honing in on the bodybuilding, and before I got to the stage this past December, I did powerlifting. So it was heavy, like heavy ass weight. And I loved it because it's just like when you lift that newer weight that you're like, oh, I'm in the big girl league now. I can put my big girl panties on and be like, fuck yes. It's one of those things where you're just like, even in bodybuilding, like all of a sudden you're the girl lifting 50-pound dumbbells with ease, whereas about 8 years before you were looking at girls that were doing that. You're like, man, I wish one day, one day. And I know for me in the bodybuilding, that mentality helped so much. Not only with my lifting goals, but with all of my previous injuries. Um, a lot of times I'll tell some doctors what injuries I have and what I've done
Right.
to help or prevent them, or not prevent them, but the care after. And they look at me, they're like, "You never had surgery." I was like, "Nah, I didn't feel
Mm.
the need. If I can still move it, which means it's functional, which means I can possibly heal it without having to have surgery."
Yeah, yeah. I look at through some pictures, you know. Have you been to like the military yourself or
No, I have grown up around military. My dad was military, my uncle, my cousins, a lot of my friends. I've even had military members ask me, like, "You were in the military, were you?" I was like, "Absolutely not." But I do have a sailor's mouth, like I was in the military. I also have the personality of I don't really give a fuck. I'm gonna do what I need to do till the goal is done. Um, and I think that's also a mentality that most military have. They usually have a, this is what needs to be done. It either gets done or we find another way to do it, but the job will get done regardless.
mm, Okay. I tried to do the military, but it never worked out. So, maybe that's a blessing for me. Hearing your story with your husband,
Mhm.
maybe I had other craziness going on. So,
Every military story is different. I have a lot of friends where both husband and wife were in the military, and um, they both they collectively work together. Of course, just like with any marriage, you have to
yeah.
work together to battle the things that are either messing with your marriage or trying to get into your marriage without asking.
Yeah. So, so this was like your first competition, the Battle of the Texas?
Yes,
Yeah.
Battle of
Oh,
Texas.
so all the way, George Page want to know, how was your experience at the Battle of the Texas?
Oh, I loved it. It was like you could ask the lady at the DJ booth. I was pumped up. I was like, oh, it's like, all right, we're here. Let's go. I am excited. I am ready.
Mm,
After this, I get to eat whatever. Let's go. Let's get on stage. Let's do this. I'm ready. That's and the people around me, like the all the other competitors, we all had like our game faces on. Like we knew this is what we worked for. We know why we're here, and everyone looked like we were ready. Let's get it. But everyone was so sweet, so nice. Like we're all competitors. We're all competitive, but
yeah.
we also have respect for each other, and that's the biggest thing. Is when you lose respect for individuals, that's when you as a person start to not look shady, but you just look like a shitty person. It's like just realize that we are all human beings and be treated like you should be still treated as such. Like I respect people because I know how hard they work to get to that stage. I went through the same process. I'm not downplaying anything they've done, everything that they've achieved, because this is achievement. Because again, this was my first show. Um, but I've competed in different sports prior to this, and this was more, I would say, more mental than like there was parts that are physical, but most of it was the mental part because you have to mentally choose constantly. It's like either you choose to have that satisfaction of something in the moment or and suffer for it long term, or you take care or you choose the better choice and you continue on your goal the way you want it to. And talking with all the other competitors, they're like, yep, that's exactly how it feels. So I was like, see, I get that mindset and I love
Yeah.
it.
Did you have any knowledge of bodybuilding
Can you say that again?
before you? Did you have any knowledge of bodybuilding? Like, did you know about the sport, or you just happened to it's
I didn't have, well, I knew about bodybuilding just because
yeah,
I had friends that competed and I knew kind of what to expect, at least the aspect of coming into the show. Now, the day of the show, that was something new completely to me. But
yeah,
everything else, I had watched constantly through like friends, or I helped with friends getting ready for a show. And so I was either that person that had the fanny pack ready for whatever they needed, or if they needed help with putting jewelry on or getting glued back in their suit, I was helping with those items. But again, it's different being on the other side because my personality is like, oh, let me help you fix this. And I'm like, oh, it's my day. Oh, I just have to stand here and look slightly pretty. Okay. I don't know how to do that. I'm always the one that's helping and fixing and that kind of thing. So for me, it took me a minute because even my coach was like, sit down. I want you to sit down and stop moving. I was like, okay.
yeah. I asked because like the average person, they really don't know about the sport. Like, yeah, I'll take me for instance. I just used to like looking at the women and the pages with the muscle magazines, and
Uh-huh.
some of them I would like read their story, like how they got into bodybuilding, but I didn't know like how the work they put into it with the prep and all that stuff, and I'm starting to understand what like they take like like some take pads and diuretics and all this stuff, and it's a lot to take in, and even just like trying to get to the Olympia, it's like a process of like the amount of shows that they gotta go to, like if they get some points and stuff like that. And so it's a different world. It's not like basketball or football, because I was just even like today I went to the eye doctor, and I mean not the eye doctor but the glasses store. These guys, they was talking about football. You don't hear people talking about bodybuilding or anything. Andrea Shaw, she's gonna be she's the 5th place at, she's Miss Olympia, or stuff like that. They mostly talk about football or basketball mostly. So
well, those sports are, I would say, they're nationally televised. So you have more an incentive because you do have all these other companies broadcasting them with commercials and everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, how else will they get billions and billions of dollars to fund and pay the players if they don't have stuff put in place to fund them? So, I mean, it would be the same for any sport, really. Most of the funding comes from advertising. And although we do, like bodybuilding does have the advertisement, it's not nearly as big as, of course, the national, like NFL league, basketball, NBA, like college football, any of those institution, like even college sports are also really funded because of you have ESPN that broadcasts them, and you have all these different commercials. But with bodybuilding, I feel like it has been broadcasted a lot more than it was in past years, because before social media has a big hand in that, because we are able to broadcast a lot through social media, and that's what also brings the attention into into YouTube and all the different social medias, and you're able to broadcast in that way. And you can have, of course, every different show has their own marketing team or group that they're able to kind of just broadcast, get the word out. Of course, you have people, the competitors that will broadcast, then you have the coaches, then you have the gyms that either are nearby where those competitions are going to be held, and sometimes, of course, you have the bodybuilding shows that are combined with powerlifting, the grappling, and you have multiple sports in one, like expo, or a large expo, like a FitCon or something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, like in the 80s and the 90s, majority of the times, like you would see them in talk shows, and some were like in some bodybuilders, they were like in movies, and social media, I would say, it's more out there, but I don't, I think it's a little different in my opinion. I don't know. So
I mean, yeah, it is. You do have bodybuilders that are on TV, and they get, they have a little bit more. They're like the face of either a brand, or that. Still, it all comes back to still like kind of advertising, but then by them being either the face or the it person for type of brand, because they're representing something, or they're representing like a certain item, that brings their face into that realm of the movies and commercials and TV, and that opens a door for that particular athlete, and it does broaden our options to not just be only fitness or only bodybuilding. It just opens up that window to where, yes, we can advertise for a bigger company that has nothing to do with fitness or nothing to do with bodybuilding, but we're able to kind of cross over into that and be able to advertise for those different companies and get that kind of, not really endorsement, but those type of deals, if you will.
Yeah. All the Rays George Pay says, why did you choose women's physique division. But on your Instagram, you got bodybuilding and women's physique. Like you started with bodybuilding first, and then women's physique.
So originally, so when we came into the Battle of Texas, my coach, she's like, because of the muscle mass that you already have on you from the muscle I gained when I was doing powerlifting and gymnastics and all these different sports in the past, because I have such dense muscle mass, we weren't sure which category I would do better in, and that's why I competed in both, just to see where, based on the judges, based on the feedback the judges gave, would tell me, okay, should I compete more in bodybuilding or physique? And that's why I competed in both, just to see what feedback I got, to see what I could improve on, and based on the different categories, what do I need to improve on? Maybe leave this one category alone and just focus on just one. And the feedback I got was grow my shoulders. And that was it. My legs are already the size that I just need to lean out a lot more.
Okay. Well, Warrior 2000, Dariana, well said. Yeah, he's a fan of yours already. Yeah, you know what? Why don't I play this highlight film I put together? You know, check. So it was like 4 girls like competing like on stage. How was that for you?
I believe that was open. I believe that was open bodybuilding.
Oh, okay. Okay. How was like the audience treating you? Like, were you comfortable? Were you nervous?
Oh, I was nervous as shit. I just hyped myself up really well backstage, and I was listening to music. I was like, all right, let's go. And then the minute I got to that second to last stair before the stage, it was like butterflies in my gut, and I was like, we're here. We're totally here. We're totally gonna do it. And I told my coach after my last time doing my routine, I told her, one, I completely forgot my routine on stage. Completely. I don't remember, and the videos, when I look back at it, I was like, I was going through the movements that I practiced over and over again, but I 100% feel like I missed a few turns on what I believe my routine was. But everyone told me that my routine was perfect. It was beautiful. It flowed so well. I was just like, really? Because in my own head, I was like, oh, that sucked. I don't even know if it was recognizable as a routine. And the beginning. But again, that's how, I know for me, my interpersonal criticism, that's how I think, because I always try to be better than I was yesterday. So even on stage, in the midst of everything, I was saying, I'm doing a horrible job. This is not right. But in the end, it was perfect. So it worked out.
How far do you see yourself on bodybuilding? Competing?
I know that me and my coach are looking at of course, building my shoulders and making them a little bit bigger. But right now we're looking at pro, and then once we get to pro, we'll map out the length and time it would take to go to Olympia if I so chose to go into Olympia. But like I told my coach, I wanted to do some training, some cross training, and to try and go to the Olympics first, if depending on the time between the two. So it depends if the opportunity for Olympia comes up before the Olympics comes back around, then we're going to Olympia. But if the Olympics come around first, my other coach will be like, all right, we're going to the Olympics this time. It's like, all right, whatever y'all say.
You gotta get your pro card. That's if you get your pro card. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a goal that, you know, like some can achieve real quick, some don't. You know, it's not easy. I notice for people to get their pro card.
Yeah, and so from talking with my coach and just talking from what the feedback that they gave us at the show at the Battle of Texas, it's just going to be focusing on conditioning, which with the training I'm doing for the Olympics, it automatically adds in the conditioning. And then along with that, with building up shoulders and pretty much just keeping the size that I am right now and just getting a little bit bigger upper body. Yeah. And then from there, we'll try and get to another to get to the pro level.
What place you was in at this recent show?
So for true novice, for me being my first show, I got first place. And then for open bodybuilding, that's with the 4 women on stage, I got second for open.
Oh, okay. All right. I got you. Impressive for your first show. So are you thinking of doing another regional show to get national qualification?
Yep. That's what my coach was telling me. I was like, oh, because when I came out stage, she's like, I think she said she thought I got first in open, but I'm still learning what can't talk. With every placement, what exactly that means, whether by placing second in open, does that still make me nationally qualified, or by being first in true novice, does that make me nationally qualified? But she was screaming at me. She's like, you're nationally qualified. I was like, what does that mean? But I was still overjoyed. But I was just like, okay, what's the next step? And that's always been my mindset. I celebrate for that moment. It's a very small moment. And then I'm like, okay, what's the next goal? What's the next step? Where do we go from here? And that's just the way my mind has always been.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I noticed that you do jiu-jitsu. You do like other sports. Yeah, like how long you been doing that?
With jiu-jitsu, I have to be careful because it's easy to dislocate a finger, easy to dislocate toes. So I have to be mindful when I do practice. When I do rolling with jiu-jitsu. But usually with that's relatively easy. It's something where I've taken from my childhood of growing up with 3 older brothers of wrestling, and it's just been applied into jiu-jitsu. So that also helps too.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the reel that you was doing the jiu-jitsu thing. Yeah, that's cool. Like you do martial arts and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done Krav Maga, jiu-jitsu, and for me it was like when I started jiu-jitsu, I was super intimidated, and the ladies that I sparred with, they were just like, no, you've got this. Like you're naturally good at it. I was like, that has to be because I've defended myself against my older brothers. It has to. But it helped me as well, because when you're in the midst of being like, you know, like where either you're in a position where you're either going to be choked out or you're losing air, and you have to kind of not defend, but just kind of manipulate movements to try and get out of it, you know, get air, and but still not try to dislocate your shoulder to get out of it. But when push comes to shove, you'll do what you got to do, but you don't. It's just it adds also, by doing jiu-jitsu, it helps with my cardiovascular, because you're having to control your heart rate while you're in the middle of pretty much trying to take down somebody.
Oh, did you ever utilize that like in real life or any real life situation?
No, I have not. Although, so I used to spar with my husband, because he was the one that started me into jiu-jitsu and Krav Maga and just hand-to-hand combat. So for me and my husband, that was our love language. He'd be like, all right, let's spar for an hour. And we're just going over grips, hands, because he wanted me to be prepared for anything. And I love learning different sports and movements. So I kept telling him that I wanted to learn hand to hand, because I had already done martial arts. And just give me a second. Let me close my door real fast.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah. Read some of these comments. Damn, you guys was in love with her, boy.
Sorry about that. So with
no problem.
But with my husband, we would do like a combination of pretty much all the martial arts that he learned in the military. And he would always tell me, he's like, slowest smooth, or fastest smooth, slow is fast. And I would look at him so confused, and then we would just be sitting just like casually like across from each other, and he would just grab my wrist, and and then we would go into how to break out of it. And it would just be things like that where I'm learning as like in random scenarios, but I've never had to use it outside in a real life scenario. I have taught some of my girlfriends like basic movements just for their safety, getting in and out of their car with their kids, and just helping them stay safe in general. But it helps to have that knowledge in the back of your head, where it becomes muscle memory, and you don't feel like you're like, oh, I'm ill prepared for a situation.
Yeah, I did a little bit of martial arts, a little bit. I practiced Tai Chi. I used to practice Tai Chi in the park with these two Chinese women and stuff like that. But
Tai
Chi,
it's good. I love Tai Chi. Tai Chi is the most, because for Tai Chi, it's just energy flowing through you, and it's peaceful and restorative. And I still do Tai Chi, especially if like I feel like I'm overwhelmed with just life. I'm just like, all right, let me go stand in the grass and do Tai Chi, and just flowing, like Bruce Lee always says, like, be water, just flow like water.
But the thing is, it's like you got to do the forms correctly. That's the thing. And this guy at one time, I know he would get on me about it. Like, how's she teaching you? Like, how is she teaching you this stuff? Like, because he was showing me stuff, and he was telling me like, it has to be correct form and stuff like that. And then there was this other Chinese lady that we were students and stuff, and she after a while she stopped, because she was like the correction, the movements, it wasn't like correct. And so and then I moved on. I did other thing. I did like a meditation practice, and I just kind of like stopped doing it altogether. But that's my experience. And I had like a friend, he did like this martial arts called Hungar type of thing. Yeah. And it's like black, like he would like show me the blocks and all that stuff. And but that's the only thing I had low experience of martial arts. Nothing deep,
Yeah.
Nothing deep. Yeah. What's your favorite martial? What was your husband like? Was he Marines or anything like that?
No, so my husband did 10 years in the Army and then 6 years
Yeah.
in the Air Force.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. All right.
He
So,
was a paratrooper in the Army, like where you jump out of
oh,
planes with a parachute.
yeah,
That was his favorite. Well, he says it's his favorite until he got older, and of course, that those jumps don't seem as friendly to the joints anymore. And
yeah,
that's why he
yeah,
also went to Air Force after being 10 years in the Army. Your body will thank you for going to the Air Force.
yeah.
But he
Uh-huh.
he loved the military. It was home.
Yeah.
It was the best home.
I'm glad I'm not in the military. They probably do have me. I don't know. Maybe it helps build character, but there's some things I don't know if I'll be able to want to do. So, so yeah. Let me read this chats a bit. You, damn, they really love you, like Taekwondo, and he says Bruce Lee, the greatest kung fu martial artist ever lived,
Yes.
and who who won't be in love with her? She sure is pretty, and Do you have guys harassing you a bit, they know you a bodybuilder and stuff like that? They message you and all that stuff, and want
I
you to
mean,
flex and all that.
that it doesn't faze me. I mean, again, I grew up with brothers, so we always
Yeah,
did that stuff anyway. So it doesn't really faze me. I think I get more girl comments just asking or saying like, "Oh my gosh, you look phenomenal," or like, "How do I get my biceps to look like yours?" or "How do I get my legs to look like yours?" And and I tell people, I was like, it's consistency in like even the days that you don't want to do shit. Like you're like, God, I don't want to wake up this morning. Do it the fuck anyway. Because all it's gonna do is be stuck in your mind that you didn't do it all fucking day and it's gonna suck. Because you're just gonna beat yourself up in the head. You're like, oh man, I should have gone when I wanted to. Oh, I wish I should have gone when I planned to. Because now trying to fit it in later in my schedule, it's nearly
yeah.
impossible. And then you're just beating yourself in the brain. It's wasting your brain power thinking about something you should have done in the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean it's a discipline. There's people that they get up 4 in the morning and stuff like that, and it's like,
Yeah,
wow,
that's me.
4 in the morning. Imagine me 4 in the morning, like in New York City. I've woken up early, but it ain't always. Sometimes it's not easy.
Oh yeah.
It's not.
Oh,
It's not.
trust me. So my normal wake up time is between 3:30 and 4 a.m. And
Oh wow.
it's just how it's like it's hard for me not, even if I try to sleep in, I sleep in till like 7. But
Yeah.
and that's pushing it. Usually it's around 6:30 is usually if I have no alarm clock, 6:30 my body will automatically wake up. But yeah, 3:30, 4 a.m. is my normal wake up time. And that's either with going to the gym or not going to the gym. I'm just up. So I wake up, I read a few chapters, and then I'll go and head to the gym and start my workout right around 4:30 when the
Yeah.
gym opens.
Yeah. Like that's wow. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. Like, how far do you see yourself, like, just consistently do? Well, I don't know. Maybe when you keep doing it and doing it, it becomes like a routine that never breaks. So,
Yeah. I
so
mean, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, the amount of time I took to get, so I used to train a group fitness class at 4 a.m. Like, that's the start
Yeah.
time. And I would be there, I would get to that location about 3:30, 3 o'clock just to set up. And then my first group of people that would come and work out it would be 4 a.m. they call themselves the Zoo Crew because who else would come at 4 a.m. in the morning except people that are party animals? But that's where it started, because I realized that, yes, it sounds crazy to wake up at that time, as like let's say out of the week 3 times a week, waking up at getting to the gym at 4 a.m. to do something for yourself, to that time to yourself. And by the time you're done working out, it's 5 o'clock. You go home, everyone's still asleep. It's quiet. You can like kind of just relax and kind of uninterrupted get everything you want done before everyone wakes up. And when I started making it consistent, where I would wake up at 4 a.m., for me, it's about 2.5 hours where it's completely silent. I can focus and I know exactly what I'm going to do for the rest of this day, the rest of this week, and for the next week. And it's just, it gives you that little bit of like, you're able to take a deep breath and kind of just relax fully and focus on what's the next task that you have coming up in the day. And you know for a fact that, okay, everything that I have control over is in place. Now, what happens to me throughout the day, that's different. But what I have control over, I have in place where it needs to be, and I don't have to stress about anything.
Yeah. Are you a fitness trainer for your occupation?
I used to. I was a personal trainer for over 14 years, and
okay.
I kind of sat back and stopped training for a little bit, especially after a little bit before my husband passed. I had stopped training, and I was kind of just focusing on what fitness goals I wanted for myself, because I am competitive, and so I wanted to at least be able to compete in some other sport. I knew I wanted to compete in at least one CrossFit event, a tactical games where you're combining firearms and CrossFit. And I wanted to do a bodybuilding show, GoPro, and see if I could push myself to Olympia. But I also wanted to compete in the Olympics, and whether that be the Winter Olympics or the Summer Olympics, but I wanted to compete in one of those two things. And honestly, I just wanted to push myself to a certain goal that where most people wouldn't think of was capable. I was like, I'm going to push it. I'm going to push this envelope. I was like, time is still going to march on, so I might as well push myself to see what I can do, instead of thinking, oh, I wonder if I had done this, where would I be? I was like, I'm not going to wonder. I don't want to wonder. I want to know. So that's why I'm on this journey. I want to see what I am capable of. And in order to do that, I have to push myself past limits.
You're also like a power lifter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. How long you been doing that?
Out.
It's cute.
So how long? No, it's all right. I was asking, like, how long you been doing powerlifting?
I started powerlifting, I want to say back in 2016, 17. 16 was my very first competition. And then I met one of my good friends now, Samantha Rice, during that competition. And that's where I started. And then I did 3 other competitions after that. One of them, I was 3 months pregnant, didn't know it, but I was still competing. And I want to say, I think I did one other after my knee injury, but it was like an in gym house powerlifting meet at World Gym Burleson at the time. And they did an in-house powerlifting meet where we just invited a bunch of people, a bunch of vendors. And that one, it wasn't a big deadlift for me, but it was a
Yeah.
mental crossover because I had just torn my ACL ligament. I had torn a piece of my meniscus. I'm sorry, I ruptured my ACL, tore my meniscus, and a piece of cartilage about the size of a dime was missing out of
Oh,
my
wow.
tibial condyle on my tibia. And I had gone to physical therapy. I'd done the MRI. They told me what was wrong. They told me what surgery I would need. And my orthopedic surgeon looked at me, and this is the same orthopedic surgeon I've had since I was in high school. And he looked at me as I walked into the office, and he's like, "The fact that you're walking in tells me that you're not going to have surgery because most people with this extensive amount of damage in their knee would not be capable of walking." And I looked at him, and he's like, "I know you. You're stubborn, and you were not going to sit down even if I tell you. So I'm going to recommend physical therapy." And I was like, okay. And then after that meeting, about 3 weeks later is when we did the in-house powerlifting meet. And I deadlifted 315. I was like, I'm going to do it regardless. I don't know if my knee will be fine, but it's been fine with 225. We're just going to push it and see. And was capable of doing the 315 on a torn up knee.
Are you the people that be like mind over matter, that type of?
Because the amount of injuries I've had from gymnastics to soccer to all the other sports I've done, it's always mind over matter. Even with torn rotator cuff, I went through a few months of physical therapy to the point where he was like, now you need to go into the gym and build the muscle tissue around it because the rotator cuff is stable enough that it will sustain the joint and it won't pop out anymore. But you need to strengthen the muscles around it as well.
Wow, that's a lot. You them type of girls that that like you love gym class. You I would say, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. He says, ask her if she wanna pause for a minute. Oh, no, I think it was something that happened. And then he asked me who smoke detector. Yeah, that was mine's.
Okay.
And it was mine's. My mother's cooking. So Michael J. White, also a real martial artist in real life.
That's true.
Who's your favorite martial artist like that you like watching on TV?
I love watching Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan. Oh, I'm trying to think who else. I like Van Damme.
You ever heard of You ever heard of Cynthia Rothrock? I forgot her last name.
I think, yeah. I've watched
Cynthia. Let me see. Let me Google it for a second. I want to get the name right. I don't want to mess up the name up. Cynthia.
I don't know if it's Cynthia, but I think
Cynthia Roth. I forgot. She's like a martial artist. I see a couple of her movies and all that stuff. She was a karate champion. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Cynthia Rothrock. Cynthia Rothrock. Okay. Yeah. She was like she did like a couple of stuff like in the US, but she did movies in overseas. Yeah. Warrior 2000, he know about her. Cynthia is awesome. Yeah. Like in bodybuilding, like who's your favorite? Like who do you like watching on stage?
I mean, when I first looked at bodybuilding, it was Dana Lynn Bailey. Like, because her size of muscle tissue was so close to mine at the time that it just inspired me to say, oh, we can look this way and be okay. Because at the time I'm just naturally muscular because of my athleticism. And of course, at that time, and this is before girls with muscle was a big thing, or even started to being okay, because most of the times we were either criticized like as being too muscular, we're not feminine enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't help the way my genetics are. These are just how my muscles build. But Dana Lynn Bailey is still my all-time favorite, just because of not only what she brought to the stage, but just off the stage, her personality never changed. She's just the sweetest person. She's the sweetest person I've ever met in person. That's a bodybuilder, and I'm not saying that the other bodybuilders I've met aren't, but for my first ever encounter and meet with her and her husband Rob, that was, I would say, one of the best experiences, and I will always cherish that moment, because that helped me as a young girl figuring out that it's okay for my body to look like that. It's perfectly fine. People can get over it.
Did you meet her in person?
I did. It was when they did their little drive tour through the U.S. and they stopped in Texas.
Okay.
And I think they stopped in the DFW area, and I was like, oh, I don't care where they're stopping. I'm driving to it. And I think for me, it was like an hour and a half drive to wherever they were at. And I was like, and I stood in line. I watched them work out, and I was like, these people are awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So did have you ever been to like other like as a spectator looked at like people on stage, bodybuilder show? Have you ever been to a bodybuilder? That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, so like a bodybuilding show other than just like as a spectator?
Yeah. Without you competing, yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been to a lot. So like I've been to, because I would go to the fitness expos, and so when they have like the fitness expos, of course there's a bunch of things going on, but they always had bodybuilding and like powerlifting, and that's pretty much how I got into it, because I was going to a gym at the time, and my friend's like, hey, come out to this fitness expo, it'd be really cool. And at the time it was called Europa Games Fitness Expo, and we went out there and I saw the bodybuilding. I was like, why are they up there on stage? What is that? And then they're like, oh yeah, it's bodybuilding, it's really cool, you should like really look into it. And then that's when I started seeing videos of like Dana Lynn Bailey and all these other competitors. And then I also looked at powerlifting, and I was seeing how these women are just lifting like 4 or 5 plates. And I was like, what is this? And so I tell people all the time, I was similar to how Jack from The Nightmare Before Christmas was. It was like, what's this? What's this? There's so many cool things I want to try. But it was just, that was the eye-opening experience, was going to those fitness expos and seeing the sport, the different sports being pretty much brought to light to my eyes, to see, there's different opportunities for us, not just to be in the organized sports like volleyball, basketball, soccer, and like the ones that are publicized. I was like, there's other things that we can do that are not so televised, if you will.
Yeah, I went to my first bodybuilder show this year. Well, 2 bodybuilder shows. One was the New York Pro, and one was OCB. What's the name of it? It's a natural bodybuilding show. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I went to that. Yeah. And even now, Dana Lynn won't be able to hold a candle to the women now.
I don't know. Dana still holds her own. Like, you can look at their website. She still holds like her shape and everything still. She did have a health I wouldn't say it was a health issue. It was just like a random health problem that she had, and then they figured it out, and she just changed how she worked out, and it changed, and she still was able to pretty much keep her size and everything. But I mean, she's a little bit smaller than I am. No, actually, I think she's taller. She's taller than I am. But she holds.
What's your height?
I'm 5'1", and that's the beginning of the day. By like middle of the day, I'm like 5.32. It just depends. It depends on.
Can you dunk a basketball?
Huh?
Can you dunk a basketball?
I mean, if I have a step ladder or a trampoline.
I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you. You know, the shortest NBA player, he was short. He was like there was two. Like one was 5'7". His name was Spud Webb, and one was Muggsy Bogues. He was like 5 feet, I think. He was like one of the two. They were like one of the two shortest NBA players. They were like
Oh
both
wow.
point guards. The Spud Webb, he won the dunk contest, and he was only 5'7". Yes.
That's crazy. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was looking for my other charger and I couldn't find it.
So all the Rage George Page got a question in women's physique, not women. Well, a comment, not women's bodybuilding. I'm more a fan of women's bodybuilding than women's physique. Yeah, he does content on.
Okay.
He makes content on he interviews people as well. Mostly talk to women physiques division, women's bodybuilding. Maybe places, maybe like other divisions, like figure, bikini. Yeah, mostly. Yeah, yeah. He been. Yeah. So what's like your favorite division? Like you like looking at the most? Like is it figure? Do you like figure? Do you like
So my favorite division to watch is it's a combination. So I like to watch figure as well as physique. Although I do like to watch wellness occasionally because it's such a new division. I just want because I like to see the difference on how toned the bodies are to see what makes wellness different from bikini, and so or like from figure to wellness. Like I like seeing the body composition difference between the couple different categories.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wellness. I like wellness. This wellness competitor. Her name is Lily Dawn. She's a wellness competitor, and who else? Some of them they slip out my mind, but I mostly like I like how their legs are big and stuff, and their glutes.
Oh yeah, don't be wrong. Like me and my coach were sitting in the audience and we were watching wellness. We're like, God damn, her ass is thick. God bless.
Yeah.
Like we're worse than guys when me and my coach are together. This is why we're best friends. But we're just sitting there like, good God, like, can you sit a cup on it or can it will it fall off? Like we're that people sitting in the audience. We're that bad.
Better you say it than me. I can't, I can't go there.
We do get away with a lot of obscene things that we say.
Of course. I know that. I know. Sarah Vegas changed the standard of women's physique division completely. Yeah. And Dana just needs to put on more muscle mass and come in dry and hard as hell. Damn, he loved his bodybuilding stuff, boy. Woo-wee. Like outside of bodybuilding, like you're a realtor. You do like real estate or something like that? Oh,
can you say that again? Sorry.
Like you're a realtor. Like you do real estate. I think I seen a picture of you and Brittany. You guys do like how like roofing and stuff like that. Okay, roofing. All right.
We do roofing. We're roofers and general contractors.
Okay. Did you like explain like how you and her like met or?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
No. Did you share how you guys met? Like
Oh, so yes. Hold on. Let me plug this phone back in. Sorry. The way we first met, it was in the gym. That's where we first met.
Yeah. Okay.
But we didn't really start really looking at bodybuilding, or really our friendship really blossomed more when I think it was an inappropriate joke is
Oh,
where we became, when we realized that, oh, we're both weird and we're very outspoken and inappropriate and dark humor. And
okay.
that graduated into just us having conversations, realizing that we have a lot of similar tendencies where like we think alike. It's been weird lately where we finish each other's sentences. And even her husband's just like, y'all were separated at birth, and it's really weird that y'all can literally know what the other's thinking before either you text or say anything. The other's either already handing it to you before you even start searching for it. I was like, yes. But our friendship started in the gym. At the time, she was one of the personal trainers at the gym we were going to, World Gym Cleburne, and just hanging out. Because again, in most gyms, you have the girls that we just have the legs that look like we've lifted for years because of how we have tree trunks almost for legs because of the muscle mass. And we kind of gravitate to each other almost at some point where there is just a casual conversation, or we end up going from the casual conversation to complete friendships, and then ultimately best friends. So, but
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. So how long you been doing? How long you been? I'm sorry. How long you been doing like the roofing thing?
The roofing, I started in September. Well, end of August, beginning of September. But so the reason why I got into it was my best friend Brittany. She was already in the roofing company. She'd been there for almost a little over 6 months, I want to say, before I got on or came into it. But she just kept telling me, because she knows what I love to do. My ultimate love is helping people. And when I was in high school, when I was in college, I did mission trips. I did disaster relief. I would go to where hurricanes were that just hit. I would go and either hand out supplies, go and help demo a house, but I'm hands-on, and she knows that about me. And so she's like, come work with this company. That's exactly what we do. We're able to go into these areas where people, like either tornadoes come through, hurricane, whatever. We're able to go and help these people, and we're able to help them through insurance. It's not like they're having to come out of pocket for anything but what they would normally pay their insurance. And so I was like, okay, so we do this legally, and it's done right, and it's done the right way, and we help people, and we can. She's like, and she gave me an example of one of the homeowners she helped, and that homeowner is now like one of her best friends. And I was like, okay, so we're actually creating a relationship. It's not just for the sale or whatnot. It's actually, we're cultivating a mindset and friendships through this process. So we're actually helping people. And so when she explained that to me, I was like, bet, I'm on board. That's all I needed to hear. Because I don't know if you've ever gone on any kind of like disaster relief or anything that's like helping, anytime you're helping other people, it gets to a point where you financially just can't do it anymore because it's too costly for you. Like it just starts to jeopardize your own livelihood. And so when she introduced this to me, I was like, so I get paid for helping people? She's like, yes. I was like, that's all you need to tell me. Like, I would do that heartbeat.
Yeah, I've talked to Brittany. I know like the last time we was talking, I think she was doing like something like a food business where she do like meal preps and stuff like that.
Yes, she was doing that, and I used to order from her too.
Oh, okay, okay. The food would be really good. She had some real good foods.
Oh yeah, like she would do a different menu. I think every 2 weeks she would switch it or change it up. and I would order usually every 2 weeks, or depending on how much I ordered the previous week, I would wait another two
Yeah.
weeks or so like that. But oh yeah, food was fantastic. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. But how's like your nutrition and stuff like that? Like, do you stay away from certain foods, or do what you eat chicken and rice a lot of times?
I
Don't
mean,
know.
so ultimately, I don't have anything that I stay away from other than stuff that I'm allergic to.
Oh, okay.
But for like my diet coming out of prep, it's literally like we backtrack what I was eating prior. So prior to that last 4 week cycle, before the actual show date, before she had to take away carbs and all that fun stuff,
Yeah.
we were just doing, it was carbs. It could be chicken or steak. I always chose steak. It's my favorite. And I would pick veggies. She gave me the option of rice. I choose a lot of veggies because I just love them. But it would be either rice or sweet potato. I mean, for me, the diet it was never bad. It was just, okay, we're changing it to this. And I would just ask, what seasonings can I use? Because, of course, certain seasonings have too much sugar, especially the pre-made seasonings. But the diet was mainly, like, it's either chicken or steak or fish.
Mm-hmm.
Whether, depending on what area of the competition or closer to the end I was, of course, chicken and fish were the optimal, leaner proteins. And I was very upset when I could not have steak I think it was the last week, like up to the show. It was peak week. And I was like, can I have steak? She's like, no, it has creatine. I was like, oh, my life. but I was able to get through it with some codfish. I looked at tilapia. I couldn't handle it.
I never had that. I never had codfish.
Codfish is usually the most common that you find in like fish sticks and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I knew it was just gonna be a fish that I could just either like chew it and then take a big gulp of water and just chunk it down. It'll be fine. But my saving grace was hot sauce.
Oh, all the way George Page asks, what's her favorite food she misses on prep?
You know, I didn't really have a food I really missed. I'm trying to think. Because usually I would make. I got during prep. I got so disconnected emotionally from food that I was just like, it's okay. But I will say, the one thing I missed that she took away from me was it's mainly just in my coffee. I like my syrups in my coffee, and it didn't have to be like the normal sugar ones. It was even the sugar-free. When she told me I couldn't have any sugar-free syrups, like any kind of flavoring, and just straight black coffee, oh, I wanted to fight her. I wanted to fight her. But
I couldn't be a bodybuilder, man.
But she's like, it's only for a week. You'll be fine. I was like, you say this. But that was the one thing that I felt like that was the moment where I was like, okay, if this was any longer than a week, I would have some choice words to say. But
I couldn't be a bodybuilder. I'll tell you that, man. Because it's like certain things. I mean, it's not even easy for as a average person, like, to just kind of like eat healthy, let alone like a bodybuilder, certain diets and I don't know, man. That's a hard. It's a really discipline.
I mean, I would say the biggest thing for anyone considering bodybuilding or even thinking of doing something where you're literally going to fight your instinct to go after a certain food, because emotionally that food Like if you're stressed, you go after a certain food. If you got bad news from work, you grab that certain food. If something happens in your family, it's like you go after those comfort things, those comfort foods, those comfort tendencies. And I know during prep, I had those moments. Like I literally, you can ask Brittany. I remember
Mm.
we did a check-in, and she was like, "What did you eat?" I was like, "Well, I ate a whole container of the mochi ice cream. Like it was like six of those mochi ice creams."
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I know.
My
Okay, them chocolate covered
brother.
ice creams.
Yep. And my brother had bought
Yeah.
a new flavor, and it had caramel in the center, and I just wanted to try one. Just try one. It ended up being the whole box, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
literally, she told me, she's like, "Don't do it." She's like, "As long as we don't do it every single day, we're good." But I told her, I was like, "It's okay. We'll figure it out."
Yeah, that I mean, man, especially them sugars. I mean, I be trying like to not to stay away from them things, but I don't know. Sugar is addictive as crack.
It is. Sugar is an addiction. People, and it's one of the hardest addictions you will ever cut out of your system, because like even like during the whole thing of prep, we literally are depleting ourselves. Not everybody's concerned about carbs. I was like, forget the carbs. Sugar is the worst, because
Mm.
getting that out of your system is a lot harder than carbs. Carbs you can stop eating physical carbs easily. It's the sugar that where you have the migraines and the headaches from not having it for 2 days, or caffeine withdrawals. Sugar withdrawals I feel are 10 times worse.
I'm gonna ask you a silly question. What's the difference between carbs and sugar? Aren't they like the same?
They are. So sugars are a certain type of carb. I mean,
Yeah,
you have the starches, like the normal starches turn into carbs or turn into
yeah,
sugars. So your body breaks it
right.
down, but they at least start at a healthy option. Like potatoes. Potatoes have a nutrient density that your body processes and puts into the muscle tissue. Sugar is just like straight, like if you were just drinking straight syrup, it has no other quality other than it being sugar.
Mm,
So
I got you.
your body will process it as sugar, as just like if it broke down like the potato, it starts to break down the potato, extract the starches to create a sugar for an energy source for your body. But again, it takes a lot, and it has other minerals and nutrients within that potato versus just straight sugar. Where,
I got you.
but
Yes.
yeah,
So
it just,
that's a lot, but I got you. I got you a
I
bit.
know, I can be a little bit of a nerd sometimes, and I apologize.
No, it's nothing wrong. I mean, it's nothing wrong with you being a nerd. I mean, like it's good to know, because I mean, like sometimes you don't you're just consuming things and you don't know what's in them. And the thing is, a lot of these stuff like in the stores and stuff like that. Like I remember I went to Boston Creams, and you know
Mm-hmm.
if you buy one you get like a whole, like if you buy a box you get another
Yep.
box free.
Yep.
And you know those things they can be addictive and they get you
Oh yeah.
fat and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know you don't want to eat all that sugar. That's not, what's that gonna do for you? It's gonna make
No,
you sick.
nothing. Yep, it's gonna make you
Yeah,
sick. I always like to remind like some of my old clients that they're still friends with me. I see them all the time,
yeah,
and I tell them, I was like, and they remember. They always say that the one thing they remember from me coaching them over the years is that you constantly, when you're in the grocery store, when you're shopping online for food and making your grocery list, constantly remind yourself, if I choose the right foods now, yes, the grocery bill is going to be higher, but
mm,
my doctor's bill will be lower.
yeah,
Because if you don't choose the right foods now, that doctor bill is gonna be 10 times more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me see. Dariana, your white braids remind me of B-Fab from WWE. So cool. I'm not gonna lie. When I first seen your picture, I seen your like your video or something. I was a bit kind of like, wow, I want to talk to her because I know I sounded. I know I sound superficial, but yeah, I mean, you looked real pretty, you know. So
Thank you. So
yeah,
so the whole thing with the gray and the white. So one, I made a pact in my mind because as my brothers got older, they're all worried about gray hair and all this stuff.
right.
And I said, fuck it. The minute I start to get even 5 gray hairs, I'm just gonna put all of my hair gray, change my name to Storm, and I'm just gonna be an X-Man. I don't care.
Yeah, I think he asked a question. Are you into comics? Is Dariana into comic books?
Yep.
She a Marvel fan. What kind of comics you like?
Both. So DC and Marvel, but Marvel is the biggest part of my heart, just because me and my brother will geek out with Marvel comics, and like we still have comic books from. I think we got one that's from. Well, I'm saying 67 or 64. We have so many different comic books that are like just in older versions, and then we have some of the newer ones. But yeah, Marvel's our go-to, but we love DC because of Batman, and then of course Wonder Woman. But I mean, our favorite is Marvel. At least my favorite is Marvel.
What you think about Nubia, the Black Wonder Woman?
Wait, say it again.
Nubia. She's like a Black Wonder Woman. I'm gonna show you who I'm talking about.
I didn't know that. I don't know why I didn't know that.
Yeah, Black Wonder Woman. Black. Hold up for a second.
Because literally me and Brittany, because Brittany has a tattoo of Wonder Woman on her leg. And
yeah,
so she was like,
there's a Black Wonder Woman.
Tattoo. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, let me see. Hold up for a second. Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna show it right now. Here we go. All right. Black Wonder Woman. There you go. The Black Wonder Woman. Yeah, see, this is Nubia. Let me see. Yeah, this is her name is Nubia. This is actually Wonder Woman's sister.
Really?
She was like made from clay. The original story, she's made from clay and stuff, just like just like Wonder Woman. But so I don't know. It's a lot. They changed the story like they changed the story again. But she was made out of clay, just like Wonder Woman and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. They just now I think they brought her. For oh Jesus, I hate when I do that. Let me take this stuff before I. Yeah. I know I'm not. I just gotta. Yeah, they just now revitalized her at a certain point, and they had like these comic book issues and stuff. I ain't read it like that, but I've seen like the comics of her. Yeah, so she came out like in the 70s actually. She came out like but I can't tell you. I probably was a baby, but she was in the 70s. They just revitalized her. Yeah, that I didn't know that they had a real actual Black Wonder Woman till later on and stuff like that. But yeah, but she was around for decades, but she wasn't out there like that. I heard at one point that they was gonna put with Linda Carter the storyline of a Black Wonder Woman, but they never did. So yeah. Yeah. They had like I was watching this movie like the black exploitation films. Like
Uh-huh.
they had like a Wonder Woman like female, like she knew like kung fu and stuff like that. I forgot her name. Yeah, but not Foxy Brown, but they had a lot of women that that can be like a black Wonder Woman type, you know.
That
Yeah,
vibe. Yeah, that's true.
yeah. Do you look at like independent comics and stuff like that?
Um, not recently. I haven't looked at
Oh,
independent
okay.
comics in a hot minute. I mean, between Marvel comics and then like anime books. I wouldn't say books. It's just anime, and I I didn't know I liked anime until my brother just saw a show I was watching. He's like, that's anime, right? I was like, I did not know, and now I do.
Mm,
But
yeah. Well, damn, we got a lot of these guys love you. Pure DC. I have some Marvels. Most of them are X-Men. Yeah. When I was a kid, I always conflicted X-Men. I mean DC and Marvel. I would like DC comics because of the Super Friends, but then I would
mhm.
watch Spider-Man and his Amazing
Yep.
Friends with
See,
Marvel
it's
and all
like
that stuff.
they want us to be separated. Like, oh, you have to choose Marvel or you have to choose DC. I was like, come on. I got Batman over here. I got Captain over there. I got Iron Man, and then I also have it's too much. I have too much to choose from. It's too much. I can't
Yeah.
choose just one side or the other.
Have you been to a comic convention?
I've gone to two of them.
Okay.
Both of them here in the Dallas area. I didn't.
All
I
right.
didn't dress up as anyone. I wanted to, but I was like, oh, I didn't have the material in time. But
Yeah.
I think at one point I was going to go as Electra for one event, and then the next time I think I was going to go as oh, who was it? I forgot. No, I was gonna go as Wonder Woman the last
Mm.
time I went, but I think it was the
You and Brittany
lasso.
need to go. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're fine.
No, I was saying you and Brittany needed to dress as Wonder Woman and stuff. You could be the
Oh
black Wonder Woman, and she'd be, the white Wonder Woman and stuff. Because you should go to Comic Con. That's the thing. But
yeah.
then again, Comic Con is expensive. It's like, oh my god, it's like for like even like for a table, like for the artists, it's like four
Uh huh.
hundred $400 and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been to a Comic Con convention. I've been to one like 12 years ago because my friend he's a comic book artist. I didn't even
Nice.
know he was a yeah I didn't know he was a comic book artist till I actually seen him and stuff because I had one of his comics. I had
Uh huh.
yeah I had Cassandra Cain when she was Batgirl.
Oh
The one
wow.
with the
Yeah.
mask. Yeah,
Yeah.
like she like a ninja. Yeah, he
Yeah.
been he been doing that for like about like I would say like over 20 years now. I would
Oh
say like in the
wow.
2000s I discovered him being a comic
That's
book
crazy.
artist. Yeah, 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 yeah. So hold up. Oh, I really love Dariana, comic fanatic myself. We have a lot in common. Yeah, he wants to marry you, plain and simple. He's just not saying it. Nubia is Diana half black sister from a different mother, same Zeus. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah,
Okay.
but I didn't really articulate it more. But that's what I was trying to get. But they were still molded from clay. That's the
Yeah.
thing. They was molded from clay and stuff like that. So yeah. Um yeah. Brittany is Diana while Diana is Nubia. I noticed like I noticed like you're like you're really into politics. Like you're more conservative.
I am. Well, I just look at the values. It's more of really the values that I would hold in my own household, like
Yeah.
what matches my values. Because I'm looking at my son's future. I'm looking at like my friends and their little girls' future. Like I just want a better world for them. And so any of those values that goes in the same path of is my child or my friends or my little cousins, will they be able to prosper 15-30 years from now, when they are the ones that are like holding up the world? Will they have a good chance, or am I setting them up to fail? And of course that still is on my shoulders, just to make sure I teach them right. But I also want to make sure that if I do have the option to kind of help mold a world where they still have an option to be like, they don't have to work in a certain setting to where that's the only option that they have. I want to make sure they have multiple options and avenues to create the world that they want and the lifestyle they want based on their hard work ethic and being able to push past limitations. Because if we only are able to go to this certain level and we are not able to excel because the whoever is in control decides that nobody can rise above this level, that is not what I want my child to like. I don't want him to be like a renegade or a rebel. Don't get me wrong. Like, if it push comes to shove and that has to happen, I would be proud that my child would stand up and be the person that raises their voice and says, this isn't right. We should all work together to create something better for ourselves. And that's just the values I withhold within myself. And stuff, if stuff that's out of my control, I don't really focus that much on. I'll post about it here and there, but majority of the time it's just like, if it doesn't immediately affect my family or anything that we're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, then it can stay that much farther away from me. But that's my take on it. Whether you're left, you're right, you're up, you're down, I don't care. I honestly don't. I just look at what can I personally do, or how does it affect me right now? Does it help me pay my bills? Does it help me with this? No. Okay, then it does not. I don't need to know about it, and I don't really particularly care. But I will say the only thing, and I don't think it's really been part of the political side of it. It was just more of, this is something that's just near and dear to me because I have a child, and that was just the child trafficking kind of thing, and that was just because I've seen it firsthand, and I just want to make sure that everyone should feel safe. Not only feel safe, but know that they're safe. And but that's a whole different conversation.
No, I got you. I got you. I just asked, I just asked because I see some bodybuilders, they're conservative, some are more liberal and stuff like that. So, I just asked. I'm not all into politics like that. I would say that, I have a history of kind of, I was working for a media company one time, and they mostly was kind of like exposing like the stuff that was going on in China and stuff. Like, they was really oppressing people, because a lot of them that I worked with, they came from China, and they wanted to put the word out and stuff like that, especially with like spirituality and faith and to that nature and stuff. So
and I will say that, I'll say here in America, we have no idea. So most people have no idea what other people from other countries have witnessed or gone through, just to be able to say what they believe in on a spiritual level. And that's a minuscule. Well, I don't even say it's minuscule. It's just, it's a small tidbit that I wish that more people in our country, in America, would know, that this is by just being able to choose who you want to worship or who you choose to love. is the fact that you're able to choose that alone shows how valuable your ability to have freedom means. And I have a lot of friends that from all different cultures, all different races, and we talk about everything and anything. And one of the things that they always say, they're like, we wish like although that like you and the American people are fighting over something so minuscule, even but for me being an immigrant, like this is welcoming because you're able to talk freely. Just that fact alone, you're able to talk freely and no one's coming after you. No one's trying to attack you. Not like, of course we have social media like like keyboard texting and all that stuff, like those type of attacks, but compared to actual someone coming to your house and giving you bodily harm or threatening your family, that's something that we haven't had to deal with.
Experience that, yeah.
Exactly. And I do wish more people would be aware of that and be thankful and grateful for it. And I feel like if we just started there, it would change a lot of things. If people just realized to be grateful and thankful that they're able to speak on whatever they want.
Yeah. For year 2000, I'm an independent. And what do you think about politics and bodybuilding? Like like with the shows, not enough shows and all that stuff like that.
I mean, I'm so new to it that I really don't have that much experience or knowledge with it. But I mean, if it's similar to most other sports, you always will have that at any point where the sport gets to a level where it has to have either an overseer to make sure that all based on either the what is it called, the not the divisions, but I forget what it's called. It's not the federations. It depends on the federations, because every federation has their own leader, and so it just depends on pretty much what that leader either truly believes in. If they're doing it solely for the athletes, then you don't really get that much. You don't get as much political stuff when they're solely focused on just the athletes and making sure that the athletes are getting the payouts that they should, or they've worked so hard, so they're constantly trying to give back to the community of either bodybuilding or powerlifting or any kind of those sports. But yes, I've seen it where either political or something kind of shakes the federation at a whole, and I've seen that kind of fallout happen. And I will say that even with that type of fallout, whether it's at the CEO level of a federation or a vice president, I don't think it really matters, because of the reason I believe it doesn't matter is because I've watched it happen, like almost where it could have been imploded on itself. But you had other coaches or people that help judge at these different shows. Like you see those people kind of step up because they see the gap and they're willing to step up and saying, okay, this kind of imploded, but hey, because we have such a large group of athletes, because we have such a strong showing within these federations and areas, that if we can come together and meet together, we can still carry on with what needs to happen, like show wise, what needs to be done funding. And you start to see people step up into these roles and fill those gaps, which ultimately that happens in normal corporations in general anyway. So it's, I mean, again, I don't have that much experience in just the bodybuilding. I've seen it a little bit in powerlifting, but for bodybuilding, I'm still very new to it.
Yeah, you just new. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
But yeah.
I don't always, I'm not always like a political, especially with sports, because I hear it like in the NBA and all that stuff, and And then with the bodybuilding, it gets a little complicated too, but it is what it is, you know. So
Yep.
I know I like how you speak so articulate with your words in the most passionate way. Yeah, I mean, like you're very articulate. You know, you ever thought about like going to like a talk show or something like that, like another panel, like where they have
I've
like a
I
No, I
have
was
not.
about to. Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh,
No,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry. No, I've never thought of it. Like when you reached out, I was like, I remember I messaged Brittany. I was like, hey, what is this? She's like, oh, he's awesome. I did an interview with him like a while back. Totally do it. I was like, okay. But it's something I've this is something that after my husband passed, I made a pact with myself that anything that makes me takes me out of a comfort zone, like it makes me feel uncomfortable, it is something that I would normally not deny, but I wouldn't do. I made a pact that said, you must do it now. If it made you scared, you have to do it now. And so that's pretty much how I've lived my life for the last 3 years. And there's a lot of things that I was like, okay, we're just going to do it. We'll do it scared, but we're going to do it. And
I think oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I had like a thought. I think you would like be like they have like this panel on Mondays. I don't know. You heard of Anton Daniels? He's more of he's like a black conservative and stuff like that. And just like hearing you talk and stuff, maybe I think you fit in there because you're more articulate, and you have like I would say a military background a bit. Yeah, I know you ain't been in the military, but it was just a thought because I was there at one point, and I had a little experience, but it ain't turned out the way I wanted it to turn out, but it is what it is. But just hearing you talk, you kind of like you seem like you would be a good fit there, so that's why.
Well, thank you. I try to. You can ask Brittany. There are times where I remember we were out working, or we were on a roof, and we're just walking, and she was saying something, and I spoke, and what came out of my mouth could be no other description but gibberish, and I looked at her. Now this was 2 weeks out from my show. So it was prep brain I think we were in Oklahoma City at the time, and we were helping some homeowners with their roofs, just checking on them. And I could not speak, like words were hard that day.
Yeah.
I told her, I was like, I don't need to speak to any other homeowners because I don't think I will make any sense to them at all.
Yeah. I mean, there've been moments where I put myself out there. I'm not a great talker like that. I just try to do it. I remember like years back, I took like what did I took like a course on vocabulary speaking, not vocabulary. But tell you the truth, I did like in college. Like I had to be like in front of like a class. And to just express myself, like public speaking, that type of thing, and I wasn't too crazy about it. I had a rough start, but at the end, I was able to do it. So maybe you need to be more out there, like like I mean, I could send you like a link. Well, I gotta send you this lady's Facebook page, Instagram page. You could probably contact her and stuff like that, and you could be be in a panel and stuff on Mondays. And it was just a suggestion,
Hey, I'll message her. That way I can say I messaged her. If she says yes, then it's a yes. If it's a no, then it's a no. But at least I did something and reached out, right?
Yeah. You have a very articulate, eloquent voice. I like you. You read a lot. Like you like what? Like I don't know. I'm just asking. Do you read a lot to like to just like to know how to just talk more or?
No, I will say I read I read relatively at least twice a week. I need to read more, but
Yeah.
I also love to. I remember for the longest, one of my favorite words was, it was a Latin word for just the muscle tissue, like the Latin based anatomy and physiology book. And some of the words are almost like a paragraph, and I was excited because I finally learned how to say the word properly. And but it's reading like medical journals, medical finds, learning about the human body more and more. That's particularly what I read, but then also just stuff that business books to help with my business. But that's usually what I'm reading if I read it, because every now and then I'll just pass out, not even read.
Yeah.
Or I am finishing up answering emails or texts, and I'm like, all right, phone's down. I don't want to read anything. I just want to rest my eyes because my eyes are exhausted.
Yeah, I remember way back. I was trying to like learn Latin a little bit, but you're not too sure about the pronunciations and stuff. So I just
Oh
like
yeah,
I'm gonna leave that alone.
it's a toss up. It's really a toss up.
Yeah, because most of the words like we speak it comes from it derived from Latin and stuff. So and other languages like Spanish and French and all that stuff. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, it's always a combination. You're just sitting there like, okay, let me try and sound this out.
Yeah, but that's pretty good. If there are politics in sport I strongly dislike or disagree with, I'm unapologetically going to call it out with no remorse. And then he says, the two of you, Brittany and Dariana, is going to be a dynamic duo in this sport of bodybuilding. I got a feeling, and it's so riveting. Yeah, Brittany, there was a point where, she did not give up about getting a pro card, because I remember when I was talking to her, I was like, what if you don't get the pro card? And she was like, nah, I'm not trying to hear it. I'm gonna get the pro card. I'm getting it.
Yep.
Yeah. And then like her next show, she got it, so yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think he's not. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I remember that was like right at the beginning of our friendship. Like we'd grown closer to the point where we were doing motivational text during her peak, like during that last peak week before she turned pro. And I remember getting the call or getting FaceTimed that she went pro, and I was like screaming here in Texas, and she was like, I think it was in Philly. I think it was in Philadelphia. I forget where she went pro, but oh man, I was so.
No, it's All American. I think it was not
All
the North
American.
American. I get that confused. All American, North American, but it's the North American if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yes, it was, and I was so proud of her because she's worked so hard. She's overcome.
He said
so much
Pittsburgh.
adversity.
Yeah, he says Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very insightful with bodybuilding shows. If you want to talk to him, it's cool. He's a good guy. He looks out for people and stuff like that. But I don't want to take you hostage. I really appreciate you giving me your time and giving me a chance. I would love to see you more and stuff like in terms of shows and stuff like that. Yeah, I hope you get your pro card too.
I know. So. I'm excited. We start prep for that in May, and the show will be in September. When what was it? There's one thing I know about me and Brittany. We both have a tenacity that once we see the potential from either the person we're training or the person we're working with, we'll already set goals for that person in our head. So I think I was 4 weeks out from this past show, and I had just told my physical therapist that also is Brittany's physical therapist. And I told him, I was like, I promise you, Brittany's already has 4 shows lined up for me before this show has even started. And he's like, no, she wouldn't have. That afternoon, me and Brittany are walking, we're working, we're knocking on, getting up on roofs and stuff. And I asked her, I was like, how many shows do you already have planned for me? She's like, oh, 6. I was like,
okay.
Figured.
Wow. Well, best of luck for 2025, you know?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, I'm going to leave you alone, and, you know, you have a good night, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and, you know, I'm going to call it a wrap.
All right. Thank you so much.
Right.
You have a wonderful Christmas
problem.
and a Happy New Year as well.
You too. You too. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you everybody for tuning in. And that's a wrap. Bye.
Bye.
Let me see. Cut this out.